What's going on, everyone? It's Spencer here. If you're new to the channel, I run a growth focused agency by the name of Easy Media, where we help accelerate the growth of brands with purpose. And today is a very exciting day, as it is actually the first episode of our brand new podcast called The One. And it is called The One as I am only going to be interviewing brands that we have worked with for over 1 full year, or inviting guests that I have personally known for a year. Now, podcast is called The One, but that doesn't mean there's just one guest. Today, I am actually joined by 2 incredible gentlemen that I've had the pleasure of working with for 1 full year. And as of May 1st, 2023 was actually the first day that we got connected. But now fast forward to May 14th, 2024, these 2 guys have more than 3x'd their online sales in the last 365 days. They have more than 10x'd their ad spend, and they have, most importantly, helped thousands of people accomplish their fitness goals by training in a brand new direction. The co-founders themselves of the incredible brand Brrrn, Johnny, Jimmy, how we doing, guys? We excited?
What's up,
dude? What a great intro, and I'm so delighted to be your first. To be your first.
I was gonna place an over/under if you were gonna say that or not.
Oh, come on, man. You know us well enough to know that we're just gonna go straight in for the jokes right from the top.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, this is obviously not the first time. Well, I unfortunately haven't met Johnny yet, but I did, out of all places, got to meet up with Jimmy in person in Las Vegas a few months ago. And
rooftop, yes.
A little rooftop special there. And Johnny, I think we're due for a little rooftop date, hey?
Can't wait. Once, the whole border thing with the U.S.-Canada thing, once they let us enter in, I'm down. Wait a minute, they do already. Let's go.
No excuses. No excuses.
To kick things off, I want to get started on you guys. Take me through it. If you guys want to individually maybe tell me more about you guys, your story, and then obviously lead that to the company story. Jimmy, obviously I've heard a little bit about it, but I would love for you to start there.
Sure, yeah. So personally, I'm from a smaller town in Pennsylvania, the northeastern part of Pennsylvania, the Poconos area, outside of Scranton. So very famous for The Office and President Joe Biden. But I went to school at George Mason University. I was a Division I student athlete there. Moved to New York after college, not really knowing what I wanted to do. Got involved in late night comedy, working for Saturday Night Live, and doing a bunch of different jobs to help pay the bills.
Spencer, since this is a live and a one-take hit, I can continue for Jimmy. And let me just segue that to say, Jimmy was not only on Saturday Night Live, he was literally in skits. The Bobby Moynihan, Tina Fey days, he was a football player. He was the Arizona Cardinals in one skit. It was a Bobby Moynihan skit. There's a Maroon 5 thing. Jimmy was also, and most famously, he was a butt double for Jason Sudeikis in an SNL digital short.
That's right. So, I was the butt of the joke. I was the butt of the joke for that. This is pre Ted Lasso days. That was a lot of fun. But yeah, no, I just worked in the fitness industry for over 10 years as a private trainer to C-suite execs and some celebrities. Again, worked in the advertising space, worked in comedy, and I had the delight to meet Johnny around fall of 2013.
And that's where it all began, the love story.
Oh, the love story began, yes.
Johnny?
My beard, if for those viewers tuning in on the internet, maybe on a video browser, you will see I have a shaman-like beard, and I turned 40 in about 1 month, and so I think this is like my midlife crisis. I can grow a beard phase potentially. But when I met Jimmy in 2013, all jokes aside, did not have a beard. So my background's in public health. I'm originally from Wisconsin. Had always been interested in, I think, health, both on the physical activity side and on the nutrition side. Famously, I'm looking actually under our router, you guys. I just got distracted. There are a lot of spiders on our internet router right now. I just wanted to sideline into that.
I'd be in the completely different room. I'd be so far out of there, man.
Winter is long here in Minnesota. I now live in Minneapolis. So I was Bucky the Badger. To get back to my story, it's Bucky the Badger at my sophomore year of college at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. It's a big furry badger. It's like a 35, 40-pound head. It's hysterical. But did that, so just kind of interested in, I don't know, what would you call that? The art of mascotting. But it's art, it's comedy, it's performance arts. Of course, that segued and led me to moving to New York City. So moved there, went to grad school at NYU in nutrition, food studies, and public health world, and ended up working for former Mayor Bloomberg, doing, at the time, obesity prevention, active design, work in the built environment program, getting people to move more through how we design our buildings and our streets, and how we zone for healthy places versus, non-healthy places. And got interested in fitness, and one thing led to another, more on a personal level, and ran into Jimmy T. Martin in Soho, of all places.
That's awesome. I think it's just so cool to also hear your guys' backgrounds and like all of the things that have basically made you guys who you are. I think like understanding the stories and the things that you guys have been through, from SNL to meeting somehow meeting each other in New York with you were talking about mascotting, Johnny, like all these different things that come together, and somehow, some way, the universe brought you guys together. I think it's just so cool seeing how you guys have found each other, and I think your skill sets have been built over a lot of years, and seeing it all come together now to build your baby. I know Johnny just actually recently had a newborn baby a couple months ago, but the business baby that you two share, take me through that. Tell me about Brrrn. What is Brrrn? And I'll just leave it at that. I want to see what you guys say with that.
Brrrn is now the maker of the world's greatest slide board experience. So that training tool, infamous in the 90s, used by hockey players and speed skaters, that was predominantly in this winter sports world. Also used by, notably, Pawliw Ono, the decorated speed skating, multi-medal winning gentleman. We gave this product a facelift, and we made it applicable and capable to be used by all audiences, multi-generational. So we make an awesome slide board experience. We have digital content. We have an online certification, and it's been spearheaded by Jimmy and myself for almost a decade now. And that is I'll pause there, because I feel like Jimmy's internet is back, and I feel like he can just kind of fill in.
Get me while I'm live. Get me while I'm still here.
Yeah, go for it, Jimmy. Yeah.
I used a slide board when I was training as a college wrestler. It was a crappy one. It kind of moved while you moved, but it moved me in a way where I was like, oh, I'm not training in this plane of motion. Like, most equipment moves you forward and backwards in what's called the sagittal plane. And, on pieces of equipment like a rowing machine, a bike, a treadmill. And I noticed that a lot of my teammates who had knee and hip injuries, because wrestling's a multi-planar sport, were feeling better, and they weren't, on an injury. They didn't have to redshirt because of an injury. They were able to get back on the mat quicker. And I just thought that was interesting. So when we were coming together to launch our studio in 2018, we were the world's first cool temperature fitness experience, which exercised people in like a 45 to 50 degree Fahrenheit environment for 50 minutes.
Which, on that note, I was going to say, I did not know until Vegas how cold you guys had it. That is insane. Like, that for people, I mean, if you're a Canadian watching, like, even in Canada, that's cold.
10 degrees Celsius in Canuck, as they say.
In Canuck, yeah. Sorry, Jimmy, continue.
No. I mean, that's why I don't think I was really wearing a jacket when we were outside. I was trying to prove that, I was tolerant. I was walking my talk. But, we knew that we needed more than just the environment. We needed quite literally a cool thing that gave people goosebumps in a different way as the workout. Because when you're in New York City and you have 200 studios within like a 10 block radius around you, there's a lot of options to choose. So why choose us? So we knew that we had a point of differentiation when it came to temperature and that environment, and we also had a point of differentiation to offer a slide board experience within that bespoke beer fridge sort of workout environment. So, Johnny didn't know what a slide board was. He was on for the first time in his early 30s, and which feels so long ago, having now running this business. You still look the same. You got a youthful glow. You should be very proud. Thank your parents.
Thank you.
But
Thank you.
But like people were starting to sing praises of that slide board experience as much as they were about the cool temperature experience. I think as a founder of a startup, you need to be zeroed in on any conversations that your customers are having about your brand, and be its biggest critic. That's the biggest compliment you can give to your brand, is to be its biggest critic. And so we were thinking like, okay, for us to scale, do we really want to just live within this four-wall model and only be a brick and mortar company? Peloton was on the up. They filed for their IPO. And we were thinking like, how could we be a click and mortar company where we have some sort of experience where people can, do through us, but not have to be there, so that we can scale our influences beyond just our New York City location. And so we were working on this concept of like a at-home slide board experience. And then a few months later, the pandemic happened, and we had no choice but to quite literally make a lateral move as a company.
Which I want to draw attention to that, because I think for me, obviously that was for a ton of so many people, probably one of the hardest things that they've had to deal with and go through. And for me, honestly, which I'm very grateful for, it changed my life, because that's when I decided to like, all right, well, I've got all this time on my hands. Maybe I should, jump into this agency thing that these people are talking about. But more to keep this focus on you guys, like what I find so incredible is that you guys pivoted, right? I think a lot of people think sometimes that's giving up, right? Like, oh, gyms are closed. What are you going to do? That's it. We're done. You guys were able to pivot the business and now start, building what has now become what we'll get into, an incredible business for you guys. But I want to ask, like, what were you guys thinking through that process when that happened? It's like, well, you didn't even have a choice. Like, it was either, all right, well, we're closed now. There's nothing that we can do. What was that like? Like, what were some of the things that you were considering, and what made you really decide to pivot? Was it really just because of seeing Peloton's growth, or what were some of those things that really helped you guys do that?
Yeah, I think if I may jump, I think this is like a universal moment, and I think both of our guts. And Jimmy said kind of everything, what was, in summation, what was kind of happening around us in our ecosphere of just how competitive Flatiron Chelsea was, how expensive our rent was. Our rent was $23,000 a month, everybody, in New York City. I mean, crazy.
It's nuts. Tell me how much square footage we had. It was like a cuticle size studio.
It was like 3,000 square foot. And it was the same prices they're paying in Chicago and Madison, Wisconsin for a class, between 30 and 35 bucks a class. So it's just like, but we knew we needed to launch there. We knew the upgrade we gave to this slide board was sexy. Like, it was chic and wood bumpers and just all black. And it was like a piece of furniture. So people were really jamming on that in our classes and singing praises of coming to Brrrn, I think as Jimmy mentioned, for sliding, and then having the cold thing being, an ancillary benefit. But like, we basically looked each other in the eyes. We're like, let's go. Like, yeah, all day. This makes sense.
We stared lovingly, as we always do. And then after 15 minutes, we were like, okay, what are we going to do?
And personally, and even to add this, it's like, right, like there's personal. I think the most personal thing ever about the pandemic was you had to go personal. And for me, I had to take care of my family. I mean, I don't take care of my family. My wife and I do. We're partners. We had to take care of each other. And, being a public health guy, I don't know. I was like, I just had a feeling this was going to be a long run. This was not going to be a short 2-week closure. So we were living in New York City in the East Village at the time, 350 square feet with a 1-year-old, our baby Arlo, who's now 5. So we moved with my in-laws in Minnesota, who live on 10 acres. And at the time, they thought I was going to hate it. And, 10 acres during the pandemic with retired school teachers and their progressive retired school teachers in their 70s. It was like the world is shifting digitally. Like, interesting. Let's open up the laptop and see what we can't do.
Johnny, could you actually comment on how long of a cord you had for the wire? Like, you were like basically an electrician at your in-laws' place.
Yeah, I built like this infrastructure on the roof to help basically support this booster satellite that I got from Best Buy. So it like goes through the trees. It like the signal is that good. But before, it was terrible internet. So
Could I fly
I
you
didn't build
to?
this.
Can I
Yeah.
fly you to Harvey's Lake, Pennsylvania, to maybe do that in my place? Would you be
Yes,
open to
yes,
that?
yes, right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're
Cool.
hired, Johnny.
Okay. Great. Sold. Sold. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, I think this is working out perfect because we're starting to go through. You're right now we're okay. We figured out this is the direction that we need to go. I think there's definitely some people watching this that are probably at that point where they're wanting to start a brand, but they're not really sure what to do. So take me through, like, what steps did you guys take to start the brand?
I mean, the brand actually birthed. I mean, this is how. I mean, this is how deep we are, Spencer. It's like the brand birthed in Jimmy and me. So you hit the nail on the head, with Hammer, and that like Brrrn's our baby. This is our child, and then so that's kind of the birth, and then the end is like there's only one outcome for us. There's only one outcome, and it's like we're going to grow this business, and we're going to scale it, and we're going to sell it and to greener pastures, a bigger entity that can basically multiply what we're doing. This infrastructure that we said. So that said, the core of the brand, I would argue, is rooted in Jimmy. Like it's his brainchild. That it was an idea that was kind of already there. They say like ideas are like they're in the ethosphere, and then they find their way, and so it found its way into Jimmy, like first, and when I say brand, I mean the ethos, I mean the topography, I mean the name, I mean a lot of the feel is from Jimmy, and that's why I also signed up to do this with him. We're 50-50 is because of that core root of it. Then you get into brand guidelines, you get into color, you get into aesthetic. But yeah.
Well,
So, go
John,
ahead.
that's really kind of you, and I'm glad that we got this recorded. You say that a lot. I'm gonna clip that and just post that obnoxiously every single day.
He's gonna listen
Let me-
to it every night before bed.
Yeah. But look, I mean, to expand upon that, the brands that win are the ones that go deeper, that aren't just offering a product but a solution. And we did it with Cold, saying that it should be an ally, not an enemy, when it comes to exercise and bettering your health. And the slide board, our Brrrn board, is a reminder about resiliency, that pivots aren't a bad thing. They could be a way to move forward in your life, and trying to personify that through our experience. And so it was easy for us to take the blueprint of Cold and apply it to the slide board, because both there was a huge white space for both of those initiatives by us, and because we're so rooted in the beginnings of things, we wanted to edutain our prospective community about the why and why they should believe in this as much as we do.
And I think that's super important to mention as well. And I think the direction that everything is going in is brand. I think it's going to get to a point where a lot of things are just going to be, commoditized, and really the only difference is what more does this product represent, right? When I use a Brrrn board, what does that mean? What do people associate that with? And I think that's something that is so powerful about how you guys have started this, is you've set out to really build a brand, and like you said, a solution, right? Not just I'm selling this product. Obviously, everybody needs to make money. At the end of the day, we're doing this to make money and deliver a great product and a great solution. But at the end of the day, you guys are building this from a product first and a brand first perspective, compared to I just want to sell this to make some money, right? And so literally just to go into it, Jimmy, it seems like you built the brand, you set everything out, you and Johnny were working on the vision, you put it together. What was the next thing that you guys did to get did you start with building the website? Did you reach out to some freelancers? What were the steps that you took to actually start getting this thing out there?
I mean, it's just so much. We just,
Oh my God.
we're like, let's just,
Johnny, we said we
like,
call it booger sugar to not be so on the nose with it. You know what I'm saying? Come on. Jeez.
and then to meditate, indica cannabis, and just kind of really do that. But no, I think we started this in 2016, 2013, 2014. We did, to remind everyone, we did a cold fitness studio in 10 degrees centigrade Canadian. That's 45 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit American. And like the jokes aside, but we had to test this cold hypothesis. We tested the cold. We owned cold. And then we had to go, okay, so what do we do on the inside? Like, we own environments. What's inside? And so Jimmy and I started to audit what was in vogue, what was happening with the treading, rowing, cycling, yoga. And I don't know how Jimmy did it, but he's like a slide board. And I'm like, what the frick is a slide board? And I don't know if we can swear in Canada, but I'm like, what the frick is a slide board? And Jim was like, it's this. I'm like, never heard of it. I want to try it. And it was, I'm like, this is, we got to do this. Let's improve this. But yeah, then we found, did a website, then we, monkey survey people on the name just to green light that was it. And then we started to pitch. And we, to do this, we come from humble origins, very, very, middle-class families, and barely getting by in New York City, to then start a business in New York City.
Yeah.
We had to raise capital. And so we were both working. We've worked for years, one foot in one world, helping to put food on the table and pay bills. And then the other world was gestating Brrrn, and I think we did we did well over 100 pitches before we heard our first yes.
Oh, it was around 300, and this was a combination of when Skype was popping off. RIP. Is it still around? It is, but no one.
I think it is. Yeah.
No one knows it. But I mean, look, to Johnny's point, the reason why this worked is because I met a guy that actually helped with my follow through.
Yeah.
I'm an idea guy. I've pitched so many things. They hit the wall. I knew this was there was something with cold. I knew that there was something with the slide board. I didn't know how to actually manifest that. And I found my equal and my opposite in one person. And I think a lot of founders feel like if they find their parallel person, that there's going to be like a groupthink mentality. Maybe, but I think you need to find you got to find the balance, the yin to the yang. And Johnny B, a public health official, and his insistency on vetting everything gave us this Socratic method approach to vetting what we wanted to do before we did it. Like I said, we spent years developing this before we asked for capital. We spent 18 months testing this out to over 23,000 people to know what people liked and disliked. We're data driven, but again, it comes from the heart, which I think people feel when they experience the brand that we helped that help them in their everyday lives.
That's awesome. 300 pitches. That sounds like me when I was actually trying to hit in baseball. I usually got to hit every about 300 pitches, so that's why I ended up being a pitcher.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
But I felt like I was doing a bunch of auditions. I mean, again, I've been on thousands of auditions. Doesn't upset me. It helps you refine your future yes. And so I had a high tolerance for that. I was like, no, okay, great. Well, what can we improve upon? I think you need to fail out in the open as often as possible, because then you don't second guess yourself. And we knew going in what we had to say, what we did, what we shouldn't say. The first check that we got from an outside investor, because a lot of our first investors were clients of ours when we worked in the health and wellness space. And because they saw for years that we gave them a return on their investment, and so they wanted to be a part of what they said yes. But the people on the outside, they were like, okay, well, why? And the first check we got was this one gentleman who was going to invest in a competitive company, not competitive in terms of cold, but just in the fitness space. I told Johnny, I'm like, hey, let's do this thing where we have a list of all the other brands that are kind of
it was a cycling concept. Yeah,
it was a cycling concept, and we put all these logos on a piece of paper, and put the one that he was going to invest in at the very bottom. And we said, if you're going to invest in the company that you said, here's the competition. And we had him turn the page over, and we said, this is how many concepts there are in the world like ours. And it was a blank page, and we're like, help us be on this page. And he like wrote us a check. Like, it was insane. Pulled out a checkbook, wrote the check. It was like, yo, dude, we just like Gordon Gecko this guy. This was insane. This is insane.
Yeah, 6-figure check too.
Oh my God. Wow. But just like having the guts to just say, all right, let's go. And that was like maybe 100 and some in to the nose. So we just said, so yeah, that's go for it,
Persistence.
Well, Spencer, just to add to that, like literally, this is the most best piece of advice I think I'm going to give today is, how do you deal with the no's? And just, the nose is
you feel with the nose. That's what you do.
You feel cocaine with the nose. And
oh my gosh,
go,
jeez.
Or
it's not coming on YouTube.
And then you nap. Like I'm a napper. I was like, a bad no. I gotta go home and just like sleep for an hour.
You gotta nap it out.
No, sleep on it. No, Jai would be like, nope, sleep on it. And I'm like, no. This is rest. Let that idea breathe a little bit, because it's either going to be great or it's going to be the worst thing that you thought of. And most of the time it's the worst thing. So
I love it. All right, well, let's jump into, I guess, all right, so timeline wise, 2020 was when did you guys get the actual storefront up? So when did you guys have, and the first store you set up was on Shopify, right?
The brick and mortar was 2018. Shopify was 2020. Probably,
yeah, so
probably July 1, 2020. Yeah, the brick and mortar was May 1st, 2018.
Okay, so July 1st, that's actually Canada Day, by the way.
And Shopify is a juggernaut of a Canadian company headquartered in Toronto, where my family is.
So July 1st, 2020, you guys put up the store. Do you guys remember what that first month was like?
Oh, yeah. We sold probably like 3 boards. Maybe.
Yeah, stressful. Very stressful. I mean, again, we had a lot of people that bought, not by a lot, I mean like 3 people. We had our investors gift the board. It was a lot of gifting. The people that were members to our studio, we gave them a board. We're like, hey, here's where we're at. Hope to be back soon. That day never came, but we wanted to like at least get, because we knew like as a brand that got a blue check mark as a business, which that's a big deal.
That's a big deal.
That's a big deal. We did that
before you can buy it, by the way.
Before you can buy it, exactly. We knew that like we're nothing without. It's like being in the film business. It's like show don't tell. Mm-hmm. We needed content, so we gave a bunch of boards out so we can get content, so we can scale our influence digitally. And the first month was very stressful. It was. I literally moved the day before from Brooklyn to New Jersey. Fun fact, don't move to New Jersey. They basically take your driver's license and they have a filter over it so that every guy has like a puka shell necklace and frosted tips as the default. So you look like a cast member of the Jersey Shore. But it was bad. It was very bad because my wife called a moving service that didn't exist. It was a fraudulent moving service. So we had to like... I got home after, almost 12 hours of trying to move and finding a moving service. I was driving like a van, not a van, but a truck that I should have had a CDL license to drive. It was way too, and you can't drive on the West Side Highway or the FDR in Manhattan. You have to drive through the city. I hit like 3 cars. I wish those cars well. But it took forever, and I got home at like 4 a.m, and then the next, a few hours later, we launched our pivot. It was insane. I was very tired. My Whoop score was terrible. It was like 1%.
Not good. Not good. So 3 boards in the first month. One thing that I wanna draw attention to that I think is so important for especially anyone who's a new founder or just starting or maybe is struggling right now. Like content is everything, and that is one of the first things I remember speaking of May 1st or, the day that we actually jumped on together. Yeah, content's not a problem. We got we got enough. We got more content than you know what to do with. And I was like, that is the best thing I've ever heard. Because so many brands, they don't realize how important, like, people can't see your stuff. They can't feel your boards. They can't use them. The only way they're ever going to know about your product is through content. And so I think that, and we're gonna dive deeper into it, but I think that focus and that decision that you guys made is probably one of the best decisions you could have made, and is most importantly the best first decision that you can make is be willing to give away products for free. Get the content in the door, and that is going to help you really start to showcase yourself online. So speaking of that, showcasing yourself online, first month in July, we did 3 boards. It was stressful. Jimmy is wanted in New Jersey for 3 hit and runs. And let's fast forward maybe to like November, December. What was happening there in 2020 at that point?
I mean, yeah, in 2020, we're still kind of proving out just, I think, the business. And what's, yeah, I mean, we hired a videographer full time. I think Jimmy and I are just that invested in content. Just content is king, content is queen. It's a long game. We're obviously, it sounds like, oh, these guys raised money, they're funded, they're good. No, that was not. It was seed funding to launch the studio, and then our revenue stream was pulled from us, March of 2020. New York City basically mandated businesses close. The state of New York mandated businesses close, whatever side of the fence you are on, doesn't matter, because there was no stopping. We had no revenue. So, there was I don't remember the acronym, the PPP loan. Yeah, we got some, not a lot. 2 founders, like, it's not like we had an accounts person or someone in that we could delegate to do the paperwork to, so I had to do that, and Jimmy still owes me a dinner for that, the amount of
when you come up here to fix the internet, I will treat you to
right.
The finest slice of pizza in Pennsylvania, dude. It'll be great.
Yeah, but thank you, you're welcome. And I think just to put a period on the sentence, what I'm kind of getting to is, like, we didn't know what we had yet, like lateral training. There was no, I mean, we knew what we did. There was no, like, there was science on it, but it wasn't synthesized. This is the same thing of cold. Cold has been an enemy for years, as Jimmy has said. It's now an ally. And, we were the guys in 2013, 2014, 2015, alongside Wim Hof, that was bringing forth the evidence basis and synthesized, like, all the key papers. Like, we're not friends with former NASA scientist Ray Cronise. Ray Cronise is written about in Tim Ferriss's book, The 4-Hour Body. Ray is really the father of cold on the cold side of, like, figuring out how cold can do all these amazing things. So this period, it's a long period. It's like there's a semicolon, there's like an M dash. There might be another paragraph within the sentence. But so lateral training, we're going, holy cow, like, wait a minute, let's start to audit the gyms. Let's start to, all fitness equipment is moving forwards and backwards. Interesting, like literally nothing, like treadmills, bikes, rowers, swimming, stair climber, like what? And so we're just 1 month after another with just trying to do this. So
trying to find our hook. Yeah. What's the hook? Cold, we knew, puts a superhero cape on your back when it comes to performance. What does lateral movement training do? It decreases your risk of having injuries when you don't want to have them, and you're moving in a new direction to be able to move better in the primary direction, which is forward and backwards. As a brand guy, it's like find that unusual thing, heighten it. Hopefully, watch the cash come in, but. We were learning in real time, not paying ourselves, having our wives not be happy with us, many nights sleeping on the couch, but determined that we found a really interesting thing within a really interesting thing, and we were trying to get people to be as pumped about it as we were. And the first year, the first 6 months, was like under $200K in revenue, top line. I mean, potatoes. We do well over that per month now, because of EAM. Easy A Media, but yeah. So the 2020 was like, I would say a little bit product market fit.
Okay.
2021, we got Apollo Ono, most decorated winter, Olympian of all time, athlete of all time, to be one of our investors.
Just on that point, so he was an investor. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
That's how you guys got connected?
We got connected because we literally summoned him every single class. We would tell people on our slide board class, bring out your inner Apollo Ono. And no joke, our good friend Jason from Jason Strauss from Tao introduced us to him. He was someone that was going to help us bring Brrrn out to West Hollywood, like literally a month before the pandemic. That fell through. We're still close with Jason.
Jason came to Brrrn, the actual brick and mortar fitness class, and loved it.
And texted Apollo, you got to hear about these guys. And it was insane. And Paul's a friend. He's an incredible mentor, and we really wouldn't be here without him. He's a sage of wisdom, not just in this industry, but in many different industries. And so 2021 was that. Tons of press, hired a PR agency, nice. Got into a bunch of things. It was nice to have some traction that didn't overshadow Cold, but gave us a different perspective as a brand, or at least cast us in different light. And then, Johnny, I'll pass it to you about the wonderful supply chain issue that we experienced in the fall.
Yeah, well, and before I talk about that, I want to comment on PR. Maybe some of your listeners are going, should I invest in PR? Should I not invest in PR? And I would say the answer is yes, you should invest in PR 100%. It's for a finite period. Also, really vet who you work with. We were blessed, #blessed, with the best publicists. We worked with one individual. I'm going to name her, Miss Brittany Blake, was incredible. And she set the foundation, the pace, the success, the notoriety for Brrrn for the get-go. We have been in every piece of media under the sun, including international. We've been in, I believe, the London Times, the Sunday Times. We've been in media in Ukraine before the war. They came over. We've been in Vogue. We've been in GQ. We've been on Live with Kelly and Ryan, Good Morning America. I could keep going. All the men's and women's health. Should I just keep right? But and that was Brittany, and it was awesome. Paired with, I think, what was trending, the evidence basis, the story, and that was the foundation. And so that helped with the internet. The internet really liked this, and this is before AI as well, mind you. This is before AI. I just want to tell you. Can I
just say one thing? Date your PR agency or your PR rep. Marry your digital solutions team. Marry them. Treat every day like it's Mother or Father's Day with that. I mean, literally, we could sing your praises, Spencer, with you and your team. But yeah, as Johnny said, short term. Get that boost, get that first page Google presence, and be able to then know once you have that buzz to be able to back it up with your digital team.
Yeah, and then let's talk 2022. What happened in 2022? Because obviously we're getting close to when we finally met. 2022. What was that year like for you guys? I think you mentioned some supply chain issues, but then all in all, were you guys growing in 22? What happened after the big PR run?
Yeah, significant growth. I mean. There was only one way it was up from 2020. 2021 we did incredibly well. We were still under $1 million, but we almost 7-8x'd the year before, because we're like, okay, we have content, we're learning who we are. You can find us in a different way online, and then I'll pass it to Johnny. We started to make our product overseas just to lower COGS. And thought we were going to lose our business end of 2021 into early 2022, and then we had a huge win, which I'll speak about. But Johnny, talk about the headache that was 2021.
I'm sure everyone remembers the supply chain with all the product was stuck on the containers for 5 months. Our product was stuck from fall, October of 21 into February, early March.
January 2020. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that, you can't survive on a 5-month pre-order. It's just the customer wants their product. So, we've been balancing the business. So it's on content marketing side, but then delivering on the back end and fine tuning that and making the product for last. We've made the board. We made the boards in the States initially. Then we went to China. Then we went back to the States. Then we went back to China. Some people say Asia because it sounds more sophisticated. I'm just like we make it in China. And I feel Jimmy was I praised PR for too long, but just you wait, Spencer, for how much I'm going to praise EAM. I mean, just holy cow. And so, and even kind of segueing into that, like, yeah, our online digital presence was it's just Jimmy and I constant. It's a full-time job. The previous people we've worked with in the firm, more so the firms, is like working with them. And fun fact, and this is important to note, is like the direct to consumer like changes by the minute, like how we sell. And I don't even want to know what it's like in 10 years, but it went from highly produced digital content being successful on Facebook, Instagram, and Google, well manicured photo, professional, to like all of a sudden user generated content, like the light switch went on, and we're going, what the heck? So just constantly keeping up with that
iteration. But after we finally got our boards, we get an email from the Today Show, and they want us on the Today Show, and we're like, holy crap. We have a second chance at life. We were hanging on by a thread. I got to be on the Today Show. It was insane. We did like months worth of sales in a day.
Yeah.
And then I was crying. I was crying at home watching it at 9 a.m, just being like, "Yes, Jimmy!"
Look at those thunder thighs.
Oh, my wife was so. She's like, "Don't wear spandex on national television." I go, "I'm wearing spandex on national television." I go, "We need to sell this, baby. The Quadfather needs to announce himself to the world." But here's the thing. Like, especially this, like. Businesses fail not from starvation, but from indigestion. That was a great thing for us. We weren't ready for that success. Yeah. Like we that put us in a big. We're back to pre-sale. We're back to not having boards again, and not having them for a while. And those sales in 2022, until we met you guys, were doing okay. We just were like, oh crap, we're back to where we started again because we're out of stock. How do we catch up? You need money for inventory. Debt financing deals, some went through. We had to get follow-ons from investors. That was a good proof point to say, hey, look, we got national exposure, but we still didn't have like that fluid relationship with our digital team, largely because I felt like they were really relying upon AI instead of like the real feel. And, as someone that worked in an agency and had to have days of just doing busy work to show the client that you're doing work, I just didn't feel like it was a fit anymore, and we we're beginning the process of like moving away from them. And to their credit, the person, they were great. They served us to the point where we were as a company, but we knew we wanted to be bigger and to do more. And that gentleman said, hey, I know a guy, I'll have a conversation. And it was love at first sight, Spencer.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so that kind of brings us up to when we first met, and we got a referral, and that's something I'm super grateful for, because I am not the best front end marketer of our company, where we've definitely been more of a behind the scenes, trying to build service, trying to build a really good product for our clients. And we got connected through that mutual of mine. And one thing that I wanted to dive into is, I think a lot of the times, and people might assume, like, because obviously now you guys are on a podcast, we've been working together for a year at that, we jumped into the ad account and it was like, boom, we scaled right away. But that was actually not the case with you guys. So I do want to touch on, I think it was really about those first 2 to 3 months. I mean, besides Johnny changing the price every 10 minutes, but I love you, Johnny. But no, yeah. So the first 2 to 3 months, really, there wasn't a lot of growth. There wasn't a lot of scale. I want to ask you guys, like, what was kind of going through your minds? Because I think a lot of the times when you're interviewing agencies and then you finally pick the one, you're really excited and you want to see growth quickly. But what made you guys stick with us and trust us kind of through, that first 2 to 3 month period when really like there was some growth, but not really the growth that we were looking for. So I want to dive into that.
It was you, man. You're an incredible quarterback to a very talented team. Everything starts from the top down. We know that as founders, as really the embodiment of our brand, and we saw a lot of ourselves in you, someone that is not afraid to be on the ground, running with the people that they're leading. We trusted in your team. We knew that things take time because we were experiencing that in real time with our brand, and we just had a good feeling about you and a good feeling about. You weren't over-promising anything. You wanted to walk before we could run before we can sprint. And we respected that. And we trusted in that. And we're happy that we went on our gut feeling because, we're afraid that you're going to let us go one day. And, we're not going to be able to change our prices so many times with you and not have you be upset about it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I really appreciate it. I think, more than anything from a founder standpoint, I think it's just so important to really know what is happening on the things that are most important. And for me, nothing was more important than, hey, if we say we're going to grow a business, we grow that business. And I think really it wasn't until, just to fast forward a few months, we were testing creatives, which I think is something that when we came in, you guys had all of this content, but really, Jimmy, you were the one that was kind of telling the team like, hey guys, we need to test this. Like, hey, you were kind of calling points and we're still working on, you still call a lot of points and shots. But
again, we're very active founders in our own way. I don't really do anything without talking with Johnny first, because that's just how we do things. And I wanted to demonstrate to you and your team that we weren't just hey, figure it out and tell us later. We know our brand inside and out, but also on the other side of that could be a problem too when you're in the eye of the hurricane all the time. So that balance of knowing when to step in, when to drop your kid off to school and let the teachers do their job type thing. That's it was. But I gotta tell you, as someone that's worked with a lot of people, both in my life before Brrrn and also during it, there's just like unquestionable faith now because you guys got it, and if anybody's listening to this that is considering working with you, like I'm just so impressed with how quickly you guys got it and you didn't, I feel like we are echoing how we think about the brand. You guys are echoing how we think about the brand in your own way. And it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible.
To that point, one thing that we really appreciate from our side as well, because at the end of the day, an agency relationship, it's a two-way street, right? There are a lot of founders out there that are like, oh, I'll just hire an agency and they'll figure everything out. And, the one thing I think about you guys, to give you some credit, is like you wanted to grow your business as bad as we wanted it to grow it, to grow it for you. Right. And I feel like as we've, had so many different partnerships now with, whether it's just website one-off stuff or, full on monthly management, the founders that really are trying to help and are trying to drive forward and really just want to grow their brand. And most importantly, like you said, you have faith in us and you actually believe in what we're doing. Not to get woo-woo, I think that is needed. Like that is so important. And when you just have that conviction, and we knew that you guys, and even going all the way back to one of the first things that you guys said is, there was only one outcome, right? There's only one way this is going. And I think that level of conviction, to bring it back to the marketing side of things and working with your team, is so important. And, obviously if we fast forward into December, I think that was when, the rocket ship started to take off a little bit. I think in November, we were up. It was like 200% or something like that compared to the previous year, or 100%. And then December was like 300, 400%. And now, we started to realize that, okay, we've got something here. And I think if we fast forward into, January and February, the success, February was I think kind of the first little period where we're like, wait, this is, we were on the, the rocket ship that was never ending. And then February we had a little rock, March we picked things back up a bit. And, fast forwarding to last month in April, we've kind of got to a point where I feel like we figured out a lot of things, and now it's, more money, more problems. Now we've got the next challenge for us to face, which I think is exciting. But one thing that I just want to touch on is, it never is just always sunshine and rainbows, as you guys know, early in the beginning. And then obviously during a lot of this, by the way, while we're trying to scale, poor Johnny is dealing with pre-orders and, crates not coming in time and trying to, project with inventory and all this stuff. But, take me through, maybe some of the things, because obviously I love praise, but what were some of the things that, were kind of tougher times despite, obviously we've been scaling, but what were some of those tougher things that you guys, went through during this period of us working together? And what were some of the things that we did to make sure that, that belief wasn't broken and that you guys were still, able to trust us?
Jimmy, while you're thinking, because I honestly, Spencer, I have to think about that. And I know Jimmy does as well. I'll go and just kind of comment on, I'm more peripheral strategy, kind of bigger picture. And again, it kind of goes to Jimmy and our left and right brain. We're not like this on everything, but in general, there's kind of a strategy, and then branding is Jimmy's microscopic lens. He's got microscopes for branding. He gets it, he knows it, but we're feeding each other. And so I think with you guys is well, it's huge, and it's just the simplest banal thing I'll say, but we use Discord. You guys use Discord. I'm so over Slack. I hate Slack. If you use Slack, I know you get it. You're with me. Slack is terrible. But these guys use Discord, and if you're old like me, I'm 39. I turned 40 in July. It's and I'm technically a millennial. I'm an Oregon Trail millennial. It's Discord is the thing that the gamers use. It's cool. It's interesting. It's cerebral. It's brainy. So these guys are dorks in the most positive way. I'm a dork. Jimmy's a dork. We identify as dorks. The dorks win. And so you guys are constantly communicating with us, and you're updating us, and you're edifying us, and you're doing Loom videos, and you're showing us the data and the numbers. And so I'm they're fully transparent. This is great. And so I was never worried. I was never worried. It was just day in and day out. There's little challenges on copy changes and stuff, but that was Jimmy's co-driving this alongside you guys. So I'm this is great.
Yeah, I'm a feeler, consensually. I'm a feeler, and I, to Johnny's point, the thinking and feeling, the interplay between both of those is one shouldn't outweigh the other. I know that, people who are as obsessed about branding as we are, people make a decision emotionally and then they justify it logically after. So because we were, trying to sell the science so hard of why, it was taking a step back and going, okay, maybe just the showing it is, and the feeling that emotes is what sells it, and show it in a very meaningful way. I fear that I'm breaking up. Am I breaking up?
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Okay. Don't break up with me. And by the way, Spencer, talk about patience. You've had patience with us throughout this process. I'm so sorry that my crappy town is letting you down right now with the weather. It's a little rainy outside, but yeah, no. So the things that we, you actually educated us on. We didn't really have any pain points until we had learned what triple whale was, and then we got to see all this data and go, CAC and this and we knew the acronym COGS really well, but then all the other acronyms were what are these things? And you were basically educating us while also trying to exceed expectations. So and I
was talking about your guys's about your huge CAC.
Yeah, what? Surprisingly, you don't want to have a huge CAC. The smaller the CAC, it's actually the inverse when it comes to
little CACs only.
Little CACs win. But, I think that it's hard not to get caught up in the success from the prior month, and to understand that business is seasonal. And even if you do counter to what the season should be, say our last month was the best month in the history of the brand. I want to share some data. You share some data. I want to share some, by the way, so people know that about what's some real talk here. Literally in Q1 of this year, we had increased 226% year over year. As of April 30th of this year, we have had done as much as we had done all of last year. Like no
Let's
joke. So
let's
in
state. I think we should state how much we make. I think we're transparent.
$20 million. No.
Yes. Oh,
No, I
so
mean
much.
we're close to $1 million already
Yeah.
in as of April. We've never had more as a brand, and that's a testament to
Yeah.
just things clicking. You know, our orders have been up close to 70% since we started working with you. Sales have been up about 150%. You've helped us make over, in that amount of time, like close to over $1 million as a brand because of you and your team. The incredible team at EAM, and
And I do want to say to that point, like as we were just talking about, it's a two-way street. You guys have been phenomenal. There are so many founders, and I think for the right reason. Like you said, it's your baby, it's your business. You have been so open to all of our feedback. I know a lot of our processes and systems are, for example, when you learned about our champions, I know Johnny maybe.
Oh my gosh.
When Jimmy, every time you would, we'd spend all this time on a creative and would get like $10 in spend, and Jimmy's like, what's going on here? What is happening?
Right.
But you just kept believing in us, and obviously at the end of the day, it helps when the results are there. But to your guys' to give you guys some kudos, you've just continued to try to keep up with us, try to continue to grow, do everything that you can. And like I said, it's when both sides are giving it 200%, that's where that 200% growth is going to come from, right? And so just to give you guys some credit as well, as much as I'm extremely proud of what our team has done and the growth that you guys have saw. Also, it's not possible without just a phenomenal product, guys. Your guys' product, what people are, what it's doing for people, the reviews that we see, everything that comes in from, just your product and the experience that you guys are providing, I think for me is what I care about most. And I think there's a lot of brands out there, we see numbers on a screen and it gets us really excited, but there's people, on the other side of those numbers. And one of our biggest things is this idea of a win-win-win, right? We get to win as an agency because obviously, we're growing and scaling your business, and that makes us feel good, and we get paid. You guys, get to grow and scale your business and also get paid. But then most importantly, all those dollar signs, like I said, there's people out there getting a great product. And I think that is just the most important thing. And for anyone that is wanting to have this kind of growth, really the product is if you just have a great product, it makes things a lot easier. And so again, for you guys for developing this product, continue, Johnny, on your side as well, for trying to find the right manufacturers. I have it ingrained in my mind, that video that you said sliding that day, you're like, the new boards are awesome. Maybe I'll get the editors to pop a clip of that on screen. I love that stuff, man. And you guys, as much as, again, I'm proud of the team for everything that we've done, it's not possible without you guys.
Yeah. Oh man, thanks, Spencer.
Thank you.
It's been a lot of fun. Yeah.
Final question I have for you guys. What's one phrase? I think Johnny, you had yours. What's one phrase or quote that you want to share with everyone?
Yeah. I've got one. If you don't mind,
You guys can both go.
Go ahead, Johnny.
rock, scissors. I've always lived by this, and it's a Broadway musical quote, and it's from the infamous Jekyll and Hyde, which is one of my favorite musicals. I saw it. I loved the 1990 CD version I had. I grew up in a very thespian-esque family. We love Broadway. Cousins, I have mostly girl cousins. I have and a sister. You get the influence, but not to say that it's female or male.
Yeah, you were going down that road for a second. I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
I was in musical theater, bro. We were both musical theater.
Just my personal upbringing with altos and sopranos, and I was a tenor. Anyways, so the quote is the only thing constant is change, and I think it's Dr. Henry Jekyll says it. And which is why he tests the syrup, whatever it is, on him that that he's trying to cancel evil in the world, and the only way to do it is to try it on himself. He can't get the board of governors of St. Jude Hospital to approve this test, and so he does it on himself. And then he has this bipolar personality, and so the only thing constant is change. And I swear, some days it is tough to swallow that, but you know, and I'll give you one example was we rebranded the colors of Brrrn when we sunset the brick and mortar. We were Pittsburgh Steeler colors. We were yellow and black, and it was awesome. Like I loved it. It was so cool. And Jimmy's like, we got to rebrand. I want to rebrand the colors. I want to lean into this like purple midnight blue color. And it wasn't that I didn't not like the color with like splashes of pink and like blue. It's not that I didn't like it. I was just like, God damn, I am exhausted. Like I do not want to do this. Like that's why it's energy. I'm like fucking A. I know I don't want to rebrand the colors. I like we're in the middle of a pandemic. We're all the supply chain and sure, let's do it, Jimmy. Let's do it. And
Thanks, Jimmy.
Thanks for making things look better, Jimmy. Yeah, no problem. Anything for you, Johnny. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this goes into my quote: "Winning builds confidence, but losing builds character." And I think that, like I was saying before, you only know as good as you are by the bad days that you experience. And since we've done everything for our company, from teaching classes to the branding to the pitching to filling in at the front desk when at our studio to the customer success emails that Johnny writes, about 30% ChatGPT, 70% him. You know, just kidding. No, 100% him. You could tell. You can tell a Johnny email. Johnny email is a inimitable email. You will know one big breath and then long run-on sentence with punctuation issues, but gosh, so much heart behind it. I love it. But yeah, we're not finance bros that had millions of dollars that are like, I want to start a fitness company. We were like broke dreamers that wanted to see their thing become a reality and brought a lot of heart forward. And everybody that's they either purchased from us or has worked with us will say that we walk our talk. We know the business inside and out, and we love everything that we do, even on the tough days. And it's because we haven't always been winners. And I think that's super important when it comes to pushing forward with a brand, is that you gotta love the L's as much as the W's. So
100%. I love that. I don't know how I've never heard that quote before.
My dad told that to me when I was thinking about quitting my college scholarship with wrestling, because I just kept getting beat. I wasn't starting. And he said that, and I was like, okay. He's like, the victory at the end is staying with this, you know, because you'll be better because of that. And I got to tell you, in all aspects of my life, personal, professional, just the only way forward is through. And we live by that every day.
Love it. Final part of this here. You guys get to ask me a question now, since I've been peppering you with questions for the last hour plus. If you want to ask me 2 questions, I didn't even know what to prepare. I don't know if you're going to ask me what I'm wearing, Jimmy, or.
Yeah, I know it's spandex, so you don't have to answer.
Oh gosh. Yeah. Go
I
ahead,
have
guys.
a fun one. I know Johnny can think of another one too, but because we were talking about Toronto, I want to bring it back to a very topical thing that's happening in the world today, or that's been happening all of beginning of May. The Kendrick and Drake situation. I'm wondering whether you feel obligated to be on the side of one versus the other, or you can offer your honest thought.
It's a Drake shirt.
Yes. I was wondering if you can offer your thoughts about how you feel the outcome has gone.
I'm living on another planet. Do you mind just edifying the listener like me? I don't know what it is. What is it?
So Drake and Kendrick are obviously, Drake and Kendrick, the hip hop artists, Johnny.
Kendrick Lamar
Yes.
and Drake.
Yeah.
So they had it's been kind of Drake versus everybody for a little bit. Like I think Drake is just really good at pissing people off, just being Drake. But to be honest, it was really like something that started with it was a Drake and a J. Cole. They did a song and they were talking about how Kendrick Lamar was part of this top 3 of greatest of all time. But it's all anyway. So basically, Kendrick then made a song that said like, it's only big me, like I'm the best. You guys are, you
no
guys
big
suck,
3. It's
whatever.
only the big me. It's
Great.
Yeah,
So exactly. Good. And then basically from there, Drake, shot back at him and said, how is it big U when you only wear a size 7 men's shoe? Because I think Kendrick's a pretty short guy, and so then that lit Kendrick up. He dropped a diss track, and then Drake went out and dropped another diss track, but then he was dissing everybody, and then Kendrick came out and dropped 2 songs like literally within 30 minutes of Drake dropping his one. So anyway, there's been a lot of back and forth. Pop culture, we're getting there, Johnny. But to answer your question, Jimmy, I think, you know what, as much as I'm a Drake fan, and that's why I was holding this up, because it's actually a Drake shirt, which is hilarious. Yes. I honestly think that his final response there was pretty weak. I was expecting, especially after Kendrick went out
Not like
with
us.
the DJ Mustard song.
Mustard on the beat. Oh, dude.
Yep. Johnny, that's a slideboard song, man.
Yeah.
And anyway, I think that one was just that was a kill shot from Kendrick, and yeah, Drake didn't really respond the best. So as much as I love Drake, I'm not a Kendrick fan. I mean, if you check my playlist, it's all Drake, and obviously he's Canadian. I don't know if that has an effect, but I gotta say Kendrick probably won. I'm not gonna lie. I think that's what a lot of people have been saying, and that's what it feels like. So that's my final answer, Kendrick.
That's incredible, man. I couldn't agree more. I'm obsessed with lyrics, multiple genres. How layered Kendrick stuff was, not just with Meet the Grams, but like even, I mean, Not Like Us. I mean, man, it's something it's a club beat and just like da 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 da, I mean, I for fear of this getting potentially knocked off of any social media site, I won't say some of the things, but like you could, I mean, just how it was a win for artists because how fast they produce these. Like, talk about like just boom, take it, produce it, and those things take a long time to do, and how fast the turnaround. The fact that like Kendrick took the win from his sales and like 20 minutes later like dropped it right after. I mean, it was just like Kendrick's smart. He was playing the long game, and that's why I feel he wears that crown without any question.
I got to give it to him. All right, John.
I have a question for Spencer. So I'm going to go first. So I want to go around the podcast circle. I'm going to answer first briefly. Jimmy's going to answer briefly, and then Spencer, I want you to don't answer briefly, like lean in. And so my question is, what's your caffeine game in the morning? And if you don't have one, you have to give us what you do in the morning. So for example, my caffeine game is I wake up, I have a cup of coffee, usually around like 7:38. We all sleep in the same bed. I have a 5-year-old, my partner, my wife, and then we have an 8-month in a crib. It's glorious. Queen size bed, like just fits us space. Cup of coffee, 7:38. I drop Arlo, our son, off at preschool. I go to a coffee shop where they know me by my first name. I usually get another espresso for here or a cortado, and then get a cappuccino to go for my wife.
Oh, okay.
And then I might have like another cup of coffee at home. That's my caffeine game. Jimmy, go.
Wow.
I'm surprised you didn't say anything about at all.
What's your game?
Clearly have so much booger sugar in storage. Yeah. Well, electrolytes first thing. I'm a big believer in that. And then a cup of coffee or an espresso, and I take so many supplements. It's just I'm good. And depending upon the nature of our conversation, Johnny, if good or bad, I might need another one, or I might need to tap into some other mind-altering solutions. You know what I mean? So
depends what Triple Whale is saying that morning.
That's right. Our CAC is so huge. That's not good.
My caffeine game. Well, to be honest, I'm boring on the caffeine side. I wake up, shower. And then right now I'm taking antibiotics, so I can't eat or drink for like an hour, but I'll go into the kitchen, usually make just one cup of coffee. I'll go meditate for about 10 minutes, and then I come back to the office. I'll usually work for about 30 minutes or so, and then I can start drinking coffee, but I just have the one cup. But I will say I've started taking ginger shots. They're like these little, it's a Canadian company, but they're like the little fiery ginger shots, and man, I just pop one of those in the morning, and knock on wood, I haven't been sick in like almost like 18 months, like coming up on like 2 years, which is pretty crazy.
That's awesome.
And I'm just powering. That's the morning routine, man. I spend like $100 on ginger shots every 2 weeks at Costco, but man, they do it for me. So that's my combo. And then just I will say I get a little bit of caffeine through the rest of the day because I've been on a Diet Pepsi binge. I have about
Oh my
Love
gosh,
it. I love it.
the most sugary
I'm coming clean.
out of all of them.
It's diet. It's diet.
It's Diet Pepsi. It's
Oh,
good for
diet,
you,
okay.
you know. It's only got only other chemicals that are just as terrible for you. But yeah, I have a
Okay.
Diet Pepsi for lunch, and that gets me through the day. But that's
it.
the caffeine game. Love that question. That's awesome.
Now, I just want to end with this. Like, you're iron sharpens iron, and you guys have been more than sharp. And I'm so excited for what the future holds as we have so many incredible new things in store for the brands. It's a privilege to be in your company as often as you keep us. Which, by the way, you guys, it seems like you guys never not work, which is also awesome too. Because now I have, instead of texting Johnny late at night, I can just go into Discord and have a stream of consciousness rant. But your team is incredible. I love that you pay for professional development. You're invested in your career. You're invested in the people that you have, even though you have a bunch of clients. We feel like you're only one most of the time. And I don't know how you do it. Maybe write a book about it or do an incredible loom and charge for it. But it's just so impressive how you can balance so many clients and make them feel like all you hear is us. So that's an incredible skill set. Teach us that somehow, maybe. But maybe don't charge us. But it'll be the pilot example. But it's awesome, man. And you're a wealth of knowledge, and you're a great person, and we're so happy to be working with you.
Really appreciate it. Well, it was awesome, to say the least, to have you guys on here. Honestly, your guys' time, I know you guys are busy guys, and to be able to sit down, have an hour plus conversation. You've got an 8-month-old crawling around, Johnny. Jimmy, you're busy saving the world most of the time. So
I'm busy having terrible Wi-Fi. I'm so caught up having terrible Wi-Fi. My gosh.
No,
it's just drive me crazy. It's driving me crazy. I'm so sorry.
You're good. You're good. It's so awesome to have you guys here. I can't wait to, maybe in the next few months we could do this in person. Little in the flesh podcast would be cool. A little round 2. But so grateful to have you guys as a client, and just super excited for what's to come for both you guys and the business. And like you said, Jimmy, speaking of work, I need to get back to work. So I appreciate you guys for jumping on. If you enjoyed this, make sure you just share this with someone else if you found value. And if you want to learn more about Brrrn or Jimmy and Johnny, their links are in the description below.